Um, my name is Heather, and I am with YogaX, and this is Momo. He's going to be teaching us yoga, and I'm going to be his assistant. um, so I am a part of YogaX, which is a yoga training and education program out of the Department of Psychiatry, and due to the COVID-19 situation, all of our classes and offerings have been postponed and canceled. And so what we've decided to do as something that we could use to help our communities is offer yoga classes or breathing practices, or things that we can do where we can still kind of participate in the social distancing that we've been asked to do, but also still be rooted and grounded in our yoga practice. So I wanted to offer a class that we could all do together, and that you can do at home, so YogaX can come into your home, and you can stay safe and healthy. Yeah. So it'll probably be like a 15-20 minute practice. Something that I wanted to offer is that and what helps me kind of navigate difficult situations, is that yoga oftentimes is the most helpful and actually the most palpable in really difficult moments. The yoga is really easy to practice in the like happy, joyful moments, but it becomes potent in the really difficult moments. And hold on, my screen is dimming, so let's do this. Okay. And so one of the things actually listed in yoga philosophy is talking about how there are obstacles that we kind of inevitably meet in our lives, and the first one is disease, which feels pretty kind of important for us to look at right now because this is kind of what we're navigating all together. And you know, we often feel inconvenienced by obstacles, right? Like the whole COVID-19 things feels like very inconvenient. It feels like an obstacle. People are scared, rightfully so. We don't really kind of know what to do. It feels really ambiguous. Oh, we all do this together. I think animals are like loving this time because they get their owners home all the time. But I've also had teachers talk to me about how instead of seeing things as obstacles, right, that this is when our practice becomes purposeful. That in this moment of disease or difficult, that this is where the yoga really starts. And that ultimately that our yoga that we're really practicing towards is this union of coming together for ourselves, but also within our communities. And you know, I think in moments like this where we witness that we're in this period of dis-ease, that we're not alone in this, and that we really do need to start thinking in the collective that this affects everybody. It doesn't matter where you live, zip code, like kind of class, that it's affecting everyone. And it's affecting everyone differently, right? Because we all have different levels of privilege, and some people are able to kind of not work right now and other people cannot, and so we have to kind of honor those differences. But right, that our yoga and like these difficult moments that inevitably show up in our life, remember that we do way better together, and remembering that this is a social responsibility than we do individually. So kind of remembering that, I'm going to lead us through a breathing and also movement practice while my co-teacher, who's just covered me all in his cat hair, kind of hangs out with me while we do this. All right. So come to find a comfortable seat. So I have these kind of props. You can use whatever you have at home. For a bolster, just grab a pillow, maybe fold it in half, or find like a particularly like big one. And I have 2 blocks. You can also use like textbooks, or I don't know. I have a really big statistics book that I would happily use as a yoga prop. And then I also have a strap. And again, you can find like a TheraBand or a belt or a scarf. Those kind of things work. And so I'm going to ask everybody to find a comfortable seat, whatever that means to you, but have your hips higher than your knees. And then just take a moment to kind of settle in. If sitting doesn't feel comfortable, you can also lie down in whatever way feels okay for you. And then you can choose between having your eye gaze on something in front of you that you can kind of soften your focus, or you can close your eyes. And then take a moment to, once you decided between those two, to start to settle and use this moment to check in with where your body's at currently, and begin to notice any sensations or any parts of your experience that you can attend to right now. Maybe noticing how you are in contact with the ground underneath you, as well as noticing how the ground is in contact with you. And then take the time from here to continue to keep your body in your awareness, but then start to shift your attention to your breathing. To notice that currently you are inhaling as well as exhaling. And let your breath be soft and flow as naturally as you can. To watch this experience of you being breathed while you sit in this moment of quiet and stillness. And then when you're ready, continue to keep your attention on your breath as you start to bring your senses back into the room, whether by bringing your eyes into focus or opening your eyes. All right. So now, what I think we'll do is start to move the props off of your mat, and just come into like a all fours position. So last week I threw out my back while working remotely, so this has been my obstacle that's actually contributed to my yoga practice. So we're going to do a lot of back stuff to kind of be the anti-couch yoga practice while we all navigate this bigger obstacle together. All right, so come into a figure 4 or a all fours position. And then maybe start shifting the weight side to side, forward and back, just to start moving in the body. And then eventually coming to find a place of stillness where you feel like you are equally pushing into the ground as well as pulling up into the hip sockets as well as the shoulder girdle. Then from here, on your inhale, we'll start to release the belly down. roll the shoulder blades down the back. And then if it feels okay in your neck, your gaze can slowly move up towards the ceiling. Then on your exhales, start to tuck the chin slowly. Arch the back up towards the ceiling as you curl everything in. Only go as far as feels okay in your back. And then inhale, starts to release the belly down, look up towards the ceiling. Exhale to curl it. Now, start to move through these movements, not necessarily following my voice, but following your own breathing pattern, where you move into this arching your spine, looking up on your inhale, and then curling in on your own exhale. Just to start to wake up the spine and bring some movement into the body as you link movement with breath. And then when you're ready, come into stillness, where you are all on all fours together again and finding a place of stillness. Then from here, so I'm walking back so that you can still see me on the video. You'll start to walk both hands forward. Keep your hips over your knees as you reach your arms forward and lengthen the spine here. Press into your fingertips as you engage the outsides of the arms, and then roll the eyes of the elbows up towards the ceiling as you hollow out the armpits. And then reach the crown of the head forward as you press the hips back. To add length in the spine. And then once you've kind of settled into the body, return into your breathing, letting your breath be soft and full here. And then if your mind begins to wander here, just gently guide it back towards your breathing. And then when you're ready, look up between your hands. And then this time, walk your left hand back a hand print. And then release your left forearm down as you keep your right arm long and lengthened. And then exhale to sit your hips back, release the head down. You can keep it in the air. You can also bring a block underneath the forehead or bring your head totally to the floor. Again, it's up to you, kind of what feels natural, as well as what can provide length in your body and you can still breathe here. And when you're ready, look up between your hands. And then so you'll start to switch sides. So lengthen back out your left hand. And then release your right forearm down, and then release your forehead down towards the ground. And then once you've settled into your body, settle back into your breathing. As your point of contact and anchor into the present moment as you hold this shape. And then when you're ready, inhale, look up between your hands. And then from here, you'll walk your left hand back. And then start to walk your hands forward. And then you'll shift your hips so that you can come into like a plank shape, but on your knees. Then from here, you'll roll the outer arm bones back so that the eyes of the elbows point forward. And then on your exhale, resisting gravity, slowly lower all the way down to the ground. And then from here, so you'll walk your hands back by your shoulders. And then from here, you'll zip up your legs And then press the tops of the legs into the mat. Then as you press the legs into the floor, on your next inhale, start to lift the head and heart off of the floor. Keep the chin slightly tucked and then reach out through the crown of the head as much as you are reaching out through the toes, and then draw the elbows back by your ribs. And breathe here. And then when you're ready, on your exhale, slowly release down. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale to lift the head and heart off of the floor. Continue to keep the lower body engaged and grounded into the earth. And then exhale to release. Last time, inhale to lift. And your back should be working so much so that you can lift your hands here on this last one. And exhale to release. All right, now the next sequence, we're going to move right to left while still working to engage this part. Because oftentimes when we sit all day, this parts get lengthened and soft. We really need it to be strong and stable. Or it'll go out like it did for me last week. So from here, ready? Inhale, I'll lift the head and heart off of the floor. And then this time, the right leg, it's like somebody is pulling it back while you lift it up. Then on your exhale, you're turning your nose over to the lifted leg, and then release the leg as well as the left side of the face down. All right. Inhale to lift. Now I'm lifting the left leg as I lift the head and heart off of the floor. Again, it's like the leg is lifting up but being pulled behind you. And then exhale, look left, lower left. Inhale to lift on your right leg. And then exhale, look right, lower right. Inhale to lift the head and heart as well as the left leg. And then exhale, look left, lower left. So now we'll move between these, again following your own breath rather than just my voice, so that you can start to link your breath with your movement. And continue to practice using these poses and these shapes, as well as your breath as your anchor to continue to come back to the present moment. Oftentimes in moments of difficulty, we get so kind of caught up in what could happen or what did happen as opposed to being with what is happening. So that's where our yoga practice really helps us, is being with what is happening. All right, then one more time to both sides. And then when you're ready, we'll do one more back bend. So zip up your legs. And then from here, you can either have your hands face down with the fingertips pointed away from you, or interlace them behind your back if that feels accessible for you. Or this is where your strap or scarf comes in handy, is you can grab it with your hands to kind of facilitate that movement. So from here, I'll tuck the chin slightly in and then start to lift the head and heart off of the floor as I continue to reach my arms back and breathe here. So you can stay in this shape if this feels okay for you, or start to lift and rise in the legs. Again, using the muscles of the back as well as your breath here to continue to be in this shape, but also keeping kind of your inner peace in this shape as best you can, or staying close to the possibility of finding peace in this shape. And then exhale to release everything down. Bring the hands underneath the forehead, and if you like, you can bend at the knees and windshield wiper the legs. All right. So from here, bring your hands underneath the shoulders, and then we'll inhale to come back into a tabletop shape. So from here, if you like that shape that we did in the beginning, you can start to reach the arms forward to come into a puppy's pose. Or, if it feels available to you, you can tuck the toes here, inhale, and then the length of your exhale to come into a downward facing dog where the knees are really bent here, so that you can just focusing on lengthening the spine. So from here, keep your arms really strong and then rotating downward, and then feel as if the shoulders are rolling out. And so continue to press in the hands as much as pressing back through the hips. And then release the head and neck so that you can kind of have the crown of the head reach down towards the floor. And then we'll take 3 rounds of breath here. And then on your ready, on your last and final exhale, slowly resist gravity again to release the knees down to the floor. And then press back into a puppy's pose if you're not already there. Or if you're in puppy's pose, you can bring the hips back for a full child's pose, whether your knees are together or wide, and if you'd like a prop underneath your forehead. Taking a couple rounds of slow, soft breathing here to allow your nervous system to re-regulate and reset. Coming back to your natural state of homeostasis. Okay. So from here, we'll take one maybe like big breath where you inhale through the nose, open the mouth, and release and exhale. Then start to walk your hands beside you to kind of walk you back into a seated position. And then we'll move the hips over to the side and then stretch the legs forward and then come to a rest on your back. So bring your feet to the ground so that your knees are bent. And then you can either kind of engage the core and roll down. That's not available in my back. So I'm going to use my hands to kind of just help me onto the floor. All right. So from here, grab a block or the book and then place it so that it's lengthwise and it's between your thighs so that you can push the legs into the block. If you have a strap, start to thread it through. If it's the D-rings, you put it through the 2 D-rings over and then under. Or if it's the plastic one, you put it through the closest one over and then through the outside one. And if all this fails, just tie it. And then you'll put it around your feet, bring it around, and then kind of cinch your legs together. If you don't have a strap or anything that feels remotely like this, just kind of pretend that there's something there. Okay, so now you rest on your back. Bring both hands beside your hips. So from here, now start to press your low back as best you can into the floor. Exhale now to lift your lumbar arm off the floor, maybe exaggerating the arch a bit. Inhale to press the arch into the floor. And then exhale to lift. All right. Now this time, inhale to press the arch into the floor. And then from here, start to press your thighs or your legs into the block as you lift your hips up. So from here, you don't want to make the biggest back bend because you want to focus on the legs pressing into the block here. Because you really want to work on the strength in the lower region so that the bones can kind of stabilize into their muscle kind of roots. That's as good as I'm going to get right now. So from here, now press into the block and continue to lift your hips here. And then now start to exhale and we'll lower the hips slowly. Again, resist gravity down to the floor. So I have to cinch up a little bit. And then inhale now to lift the hips. Continue to press into the block. And then exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Maybe even adding a squeeze at the end to kind of engage all of the muscles here. And then exhale to lower. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. And then inhale to lift and then hold for the count of 5. So take 5 full rounds of breath here, where you can still have that kind of soft breath, but you're counting and holding. Maybe even doing the advanced version and smiling. And then when you're ready on your exhale, at the last breath of your count, you can lower your hips. All right. So we're going to keep adding to this. So inhale to lift, keep pressing into the block. And then this time, press into the right foot as you lift the left leg up and away. And then count. Maybe 3 rounds of breath to 5 rounds of breath. Continue to press into the block and engage the back of the right leg as you pull out through the left ankle. And then bend the knee, lower the left leg, lower the hips. All right. Next time, inhale to lift, press into the block, exhale here. Then, so you'll notice this is my weaker side. So you'll know, or my like working side. So you'll notice which side is more like workable for you. And it's just data for you. But so I'm going to press really firmly through my left leg, press into the block, and then lift the right leg up and away. Pressing out through the right heel as I engage the back body, and use the left leg as my point of strength to the floor. As well as use my breath to let me know that this is okay and that this won't last forever. And I always have an anchor into the present moment. And then exhale, bend the right knee, lower the hips. All right. Whew. So next time, we'll do one last time. So inhale to lift. And then this time, instead of when you lift, instead of pressing into the block, now if you have a strap, or you can just use your hands here, press into the strap or press into your hands as you lift the hips here to engage the back of the body and to work a different muscle group. The abductors that bring like the legs away from, or bring body parts away from the body. So that we're strengthening the big muscle groups, but also the little muscle groups that'll help if there's any low back stuff. Help us to feel stable and strong while we all work remotely, or most of us work remotely. And then on your last exhale, slowly lower your hips. And then release the strap. And then you can start to move the leg out of the strap. Remove the block. And then from here, keep your feet together. And then start to draw your knees away from each other. And then on your next inhale, it's like, you can even use your hands here to imagine that somebody's pushing your legs away. But start to draw your knees back up to center. And then on your exhale, you can either, right, kind of imagine that you're resisting gravity here as you release the legs down, or you can use your hands again as kind of another additional point of resistance. Inhale, knees together. Exhale to lower. And we'll just do that one more time. Inhale to lift. And then exhale to lower. And then when you're ready, just draw your knees up towards the ceiling. And then hug your knees into your chest as best you can, maybe pressing the low back into the floor and then rolling side to side. And then eventually rolling completely onto your left side. Extend your left arm forward and then draw your right hand on top. Then we'll inhale to reach the right arm up towards the ceiling and then over to the right. And you can bring a block or a pillow or something if that twist feels really far. Or if you'd like, you can also bring a block or a pillow between your legs to kind of soften that as well. And you can use your yoga props in whatever way feels really comfortable for you, especially as we get to the kind of more calming, quieter poses. So nice. And then when you're ready, allowing yourself to settle in here, let gravity help you do the work. As you slowly transition into being in the more passive part of your practice. And then again, if your attention wanders or it gets a little too far away from you, know that you can always bring your attention back to your breath or back to your body. That you always have an anchor to come back into what is happening right now for you. Into the more stable parts of your experience. And when you're ready, we'll inhale the right arm up towards the ceiling and then over to the left. And then inhale to roll back onto your back, maybe rocking side to side. And then eventually rolling onto your left side. Extend both hands out in front of you. And then we'll inhale the left arm up towards the ceiling and then over to the left, twist to the left. And then again, you could decide if you'd like a prop underneath your arm or a prop between your legs as you transition into a spinal twist on this side. And let gravity once again kind of help you as you turn in the abdomen and rest here. Allowing your breath to be soft and to be your point of focus here. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale to bring the left arm up and over. And then start to roll onto your back. Doing any final shapes or movements here that feel really good for you. And then eventually transitioning into a full lying down shape. Sometimes what I like to do is bring a kind of pillow or a bolster underneath my knees, especially if my back isn't feeling too good. To going to lessen the pressure on my back. This is also the time to put on socks or a blanket because we get colder once we transition into this shape. And then eventually closing your eyes here or having a soft gaze out in front of you as you transition into the final shape of your practice. Where you finally release and let go of any movement externally, so you can watch the movement that settles internally as you rest in these final moments of practice in silence and stillness. Begin to deepen your breath here and slowly begin to kind of bring your senses back into the room. And then eventually, as it starts to feel comfortable, you can start to bring movement back into the body in kind of whatever way feels nurturing and good for you. And then eventually hugging the knees in towards the chest, rolling onto one side. And then give yourself a moment or two to breathe here, to honor this transition. And then eventually coming up to find a comfortable seat. You can either have your eyes open with a soft gaze or close your eyes here. As I invite you to bring your hands either to your heart or rest them on your thighs. And then take a deep bow, bringing your head to your heart. To acknowledge the wisdom already within you. That yoga is here for us to have a path, particularly in times of difficult. And that when difficult shows up for us, these are adding weight to the dumbbell where we can strengthen our resilience and strengthen our connection to community. That our big lesson in all of this is to remember that we will all get through this together. Thank you so much for practicing with me and virtually on this level together. A deep bow of gratitude to all of you. Thank you. Well, thank you for participating in this video, and hopefully we'll have a bunch more up for you, and please feel free to reach out if you like videos like this or need anything else or have any questions. Our team email is yogaxteam@stanford.edu, and our website, if you're not already on it, is yogaxu.com. Again, my name is Heather, and I am so thrilled to be practicing with you, whether out in the world or in my living room with my cat. Have a great day, and a huge, huge, huge kind of bow of gratitude. Thank you.